Josh, 2 games before the bye, you said you've been feeling it. The offense has been, opening things up. The way that Josh, you guys have all said you've trusted the process. 3rd straight games, 100 yards, first time a Raiders done it since the 90s. Let's talk about, how you felt today. Obviously, you looked good.
Yeah, man. First I want to, say it's a blessing to, be in this position. Man, I think it's more of a credit to the offensive line. I come back to them all the time because I feel like this is the first time in a long time where I've had 4 to 5 yards without being touched by anybody. You know what I'm saying? So they making it pretty easy on me, and I'm gonna make sure I take care of them. So.
Josh, did you note that Marcus Allen was in attendance today?
No, I actually did. He didn't tell me he was coming, but right after the game, he told me. I talked to him. We had a long little conversation in the hallway, and man, it's been huge to see him. Especially him being who he is and being a great running back in this game. To be able to take the time and mentor me and talk to me about things that he see and things like that, I don't really take that for granted. So it's been huge to be able to have him here and him be happy for me beating his record. It's definitely been huge for me.
Josh, apologize if you had already talked about this, but the offensive line, in addition to your running, obviously, but it seems like that group is really starting to put its stamp on things. Can you talk about where they are at?
Yeah, obviously we didn't do everything right. We still got a lot to improve on. But, man, I love to fight them guys. They might get beat on a play or whatever, but you don't never see a way on them. They come back in the huddle, we'll talk about it, and they be ready to go for the next play. And, man, sometimes they motivate me. They get up, they be yelling and stuff. When I get a run, I'll be like, okay, they turning me up, in the middle of a play. So, it's just been a fun, interesting ride to be able to come out and, train with them and go crazy. And, man, it's been a blessing.
Josh, we talked a couple of weeks ago at the facility, and you've been adamant through the season, through the first half of the season, that you're not even thinking about the contract issues. It's a dead issue. You're focused on the season. You mentioned being mentored by Marcus Allen. When you're spoken to by veterans and old school greats, has that helped sort of maybe mature you through this process, through training camp, and now through the first 6 games?
Yeah, man, because they've been through it, and he'll tell me his experiences and, how he felt, in certain situations and things like that. And that's what helps me, like, okay, I'm not in this alone. Somebody that already been through this process, they think in the same way I am. And, man, he told me, man, you just got to work from day one since I met him, since I talked to him the first day. He's like, man, you just got to work, come in and do what you do. And he give me little pointers on little things, whether it's like on the goal line or whatever, about body placement or whatever. But, it's definitely been huge. He's been one of my biggest advocates since I came in the league. And so for him to take me under his wing and be willing to do that, it's been huge for me.
Josh in the back. I remember seeing you after the first game. Obviously, it didn't go the way that you guys wanted it to go, but seeing you after today's game, just the big smile on your face. Like how much are you actually enjoying playing football and just having the success that you're having?
Man, I say all the time, winning is always fun. Regardless of how you get it, however you get the win, winning is always fun to me. And man, to see the guys come out both sides of the ball with that intensity and with that fire. I was just sitting there, I take a second sometimes when I'm on the sideline and I just, absorb it all. And to see the guys, the type of energy and the what they had in their eyes, I was like, yeah, we headed towards the right direction. And man, just to be able to come out and get a win and see guys put it together when it matters most, it's definitely been huge.
Josh, along those lines, this coaching staff has preached, playing your best football when it's most required. Fourth quarter, 21-0, you guys are on the winning side of that. 2 offensive touchdowns that you had to have, a defensive touchdown. Is that kind of what you're talking about and what you guys
Yeah, not only that. You look at red zone, I think we was 3 for 3 on offense for the red zone, and defense was like 1 for 3 or 1 for 4 or something like that. So, that's just a little emphasis of things that we've been harping on that we need to be better at and do better at. We still are yet to play a complete game, but we definitely trending in the right direction.
Josh, time and again, these last few weeks, we've heard you talk about how you kind of approach this offseason differently, how hard you worked, not only in the weight room, but nutrition and all that stuff. But looking back now with where you are, clearly it went well. What was really the catalyst for that? What pushed you to want to do all that stuff to get to where you are now this season?
Really, most of the time I feel like every offseason I definitely trained and I definitely worked, as hard as I felt like I could in the moments. But it was a little different because now, going into year 4, you know your body. You know what you need. You know what you don't need. Sometimes I feel like I overworked myself in the past. You know what I'm saying? So just being able to come out and know what I need to work on, you know what I'm saying, and come in and approach it and address it, was probably the biggest thing for me, for real, just knowing my body, knowing myself.
Josh, a lot of things happened in the offseason. One of the big things for the Raiders was getting and acquiring Davante Adams. And, Derek Carr alluded to, as happy as he was getting his good friend to come here, he said probably nobody on this team was happier than Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Talk about having a guy like him now on the Raiders and how much that opens up the running game for you.
Man, I mean, obviously, he's one of the best, if not the best, in this league, in this game right now. And I would say that he definitely took everybody's game to another level. He took my game to another level just because of the way he practiced. I mean, you see this dude make plays, and I'd be like, man, I don't know if I've ever seen it before. You know what I'm saying? Like certain things like that. And I'm like, man, like I remember in camp, me and Amir was talking, and I was like, we really witnessing greatness right now. Like the dude really, like the way he go about his business, the way he approach, taking care of himself, working and things like that. I mean, it's been fun to be around. So for me to be able to see it and actually, see what he does from a day-to-day standpoint, I feel like that elevated my game.
Josh, when a lot of your teammates talk about you, they talk about the energy and the fire that you bring just on the sidelines, just being very vocal. Where in your career did you learn that how an attitude or how a mindset could be infectious towards your team?
Yeah, I was always the type, man. I don't really like to talk too much. I kind of just lead by example. But I've learned that, when you the guy that people look up to and you the guy that people are looking for an answer from, you got to be able to step into that role. And, man, I mean, just being able to have the guys' trust, so when I say something, they actually listen, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. It's been fun, man. I mean, I only say what I feel, in the moments. If I feel like we're not doing enough, I don't really harp on the guys or nothing, but I, give them encouragement to pick it up and to do things the way we know how to do it. So it's been an interesting year in that standpoint for sure.
Josh, credit due obviously to the offensive line for some of the holes that you get opened up for you, but there's a lot of times you see you finding the edge and creating breaking tackles and driving through guys at the end. What are you seeing out there right now? You see anything any different than you had in the past?
Not really. Yes and no. I feel like studying film, you kind of see certain formations and you see how certain guys play, and your escapes. Like every run I have, I know I got like 1 or 2 escapes of where if the play break down, I know where I can go possibly or things like that. And I would say that's KP, man. Me and him sit down and we have individual meetings. And we go over all the little details, the fine print details of things. And I feel like he harped on the details. Even when I'm playing good, he still come over and be like, you did this and did that. And that kind of keeps me, where I need to be. So that shout out to him. I give him credit for that.
Josh, a couple of weeks ago, you had said that when you found out you were going to be starting in the Hall of Fame game, playing those first couple of series, you're like, okay, well, looks like it's time to put on a show.
Yeah.
Now you're setting milestones, and now you're only the third Raider running back in history to rush for 3 touchdowns in multiple times, and just other milestone. Is there a sense of self-satisfaction for you, or are you trying not to? Is that tough maybe to block that stuff?
It's hard. It's hard to have self-satisfaction because obviously we still on the bottom end of the winning pole, and then it's still a long season. Like if I don't play good the rest of the season, everything I did up to now don't really mean nothing. So and the biggest thing for me is, man, I want to get in the playoffs. Man, I want to go on a run and actually feel like what it feels like to actually experience that. And man, I mean, I think we have a special group of guys. I think that, when we all clicking offensively and defensively, like we're a scary team. So just trying to find a way to approach going about working every day to bring out the best out of everybody. That's probably the biggest thing that I think about. Because I feel like I said, if I had 40 yards and we win, I'm cool with that. That's just the type of player I am.
Josh, when you hear folks saying that, hey, there's this stud running back, this rookie, Dameon Pierce, coming to town, does that give you a little bit of extra edge? Like, hey, this is my house.
I actually, you know, pay attention and watch him. I like his game. Like I told him after the game, I was like, man, I'm really a fan. You know, I'm a fan of your game. I like good running backs. So I used to watch him in college and things like that. So when I seen him, you know, in the first half, and he had like more rushing yards in the first half, I say, oh yeah, I got to turn it on. I can't let him, you know, outwork me. But at the same time, I still like his game. It's much respect in him for sure. Appreciate you guys.
You can't always control what happens at the beginning of the game, but only thing we can do is finish strong, and that's what we did today.
Can you just going off of that finishing strong, what does it say about just the resiliency of this team to not come out to the greatest start, but to finish and to get this W?
It just lets me know we're getting better. I mean, that's a game that, you know, might not have went our way early in the year, but we're just getting better. I mean, people are sticking to the process. We're working our butts off each and every day. I mean, I know it doesn't look like it from, you know, wins-loss perspective, but the guys really come in here with the right attitude each day, and hopefully, you know, we can continue to grow, stack some wins together, and turn this thing around.
Where does the ball go?
Where that ball go? That one go to my mama. She had me, so that's the first pick six I got. So I'm thankful for her, yep, that's for moms.
What were you thinking about as you're running? I mean, as you're running, you see just touchdown, end zone in front of you?
Find my family.
Yeah.
Find my family. I knew where they were, and I just want to acknowledge them because they're the reason why I'm able to put as much, you know, into football as I do. My wife is tremendous. You know, I wanted to give her some love because, you know, when I play football during the season, you know, a lot of my time is dedicated to football. So she makes sure the family is straight. She does everything that I need for, you know, for the family. So I wanted to find them and let them know this place for them as well.
Were they down in that end of the field?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Right there. Oh, I pointed at them. They seen me. My wife was going crazy, too. They were going crazy.
You saw her as you were running?
Without a doubt. I knew exactly where she was. I know where they are at the beginning of the game, so I know exactly where they are.
But you're not thinking, like, don't fall? Like,
nah.
Don't the offensive lineman trip me?
Not at all. Not at all. I seen Big Tunsil. I was like, nah, I can't let you get me because my son going to be like, how you let that offensive tackle get you? So just trying to make sure I got in the end zone. I did. Great blocking by the guys, so great blocking.
Thanks, man.
All right, no problem.
Obviously, we're aware that, you know, we have a really strong team, but record still doesn't reflect it all the way. But it's, you know, it's headed that way, and you know that's what we're after. Just got to keep doing what we're doing now, and we'll have this feeling after a lot more games.
What's the message on the sideline when you guys get up to kind of a slow start offensively, and just to try to get it going in gear?
Just to pick it up, you know, everybody, whether it's a sense of urgency or if it's, you know, attention to detail a little bit more, just things like that, where everybody got to focus up a little bit more, because typically that's what it is. You know, us beating up on ourselves. You know, obviously they called that blocking it back on me, which, you know, it is what it is. You know, just playing football. But the more we lock in and, you know, stay away from penalties and putting ourselves in positions that'll make it tougher on the offense, you know, that's the better spot that we'll be in to have success.
How nice was it having Hunter back?
Really good. I mean, obviously we had him back last game, but I feel like he's starting to get back to himself and being, you know, completely just playing loose and having fun out there. So that's what we need from him. But I mean, it's big, and my mentality is to try to, you know, I'm trying to scrape the pot every time, and I want to, you know, I want to get out there and make the most out of every time I get the ball. You don't want to try to, especially a game like today where they're going to be a little deeper on me and things like that. You know, my focus and something that Derek came and talked to me about before the game was to, you know, try to get some of those extra yards like that. You know, being a factor with the ball in your hand, and that's something that I pride myself on for a while, just based off of the way I get played. I don't always get to, you know, have the 58-yard touchdowns and stuff like that. So if I can, you know, get 8 on the play rather than like you said 3 or 4, you know, that's what we're after.
You're always going to get the best DB on you. What did you think of Stingley today?
I think he's a good player. I like what I saw on tape. Today, they just didn't really play that type of game where it was like, you know, me versus him or whatever it is. There's a lot of off coverage and a lot of zone. But, you know, I think he's like I said, what I've seen on film, I like him a lot.
What does it say about kind of the maturity level of the team of finishing, like learning to finish, I guess, in a game like that?
Yeah, I mean, we have come a long way with that. Obviously, that's the reason why we're in this position record-wise right now. It's not because, you know, we're just goofballs and getting blown out every game, but we've been in those, we've had a shot at a lot of these games, pretty much all of these games at the end, and just didn't really pull it off. And, you know, it's showing the growth that we have. Great coaches that are, you know, locking us in on some of the details that get us to where we can come out here and perform like that, especially late, and just got to keep that going.
Appreciate it.
Is there anything, I got one more for you. Is there anything you've learned about Josh Jacobs over the last 3 performances that you didn't know maybe before coming here?
that I didn't know, I wouldn't say that because I've paid close attention to his career and I've known what he's done. But as far as just the dog that he got inside of there, you gotta spend time with a guy to really know the level, because it's a lot of good backs in this league, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody else, but just the way he runs the ball, the way he wants the ball, he wants to be the guy in those big moments like that, and he steps up to the plate. So to the degree that I now know, I didn't know before, but I always knew he was a dog. For sure.
He mentioned that he can juke around guys every once in a while, but instead he wants to run through them to get everyone fired up. What does that do on the sideline? What does that do in the field?
Well, I'm not usually on the sideline
right.
in the game, but it does a lot for the morale of the team. Sometimes I'll flex up with him. He's not a big celebrator either. He just kind of get going to the next play. You get a little juice out of him, but for the most part, he just kind of line up, get ready to do it again.
Congratulations.